welcome you all here today and start with the karakia. Tuia kiti mana. Thank you. Just like to acknowledge you all here today, members of the public, the staff and all the councillors. Thank you for being here. Just a reminder, we are live streaming this to the council YouTube channel. And one further thing, I'd just like to acknowledge our new Rachel Cameron, who got married on the weekend. Rachel, congratulations to you and Blair. I'll now call for apologies. We have one from Councillor Christine Rankin, has submitted an apology for today's meeting. Are there any other apologies? No further apologies. Can we have someone move that? Councillor Cameron, thank you. Mover, a seconder? Councillor Leonard, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Item number 3, conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest? Being no conflicts of interest, we'll move on to item 4.1, confirmation of the minutes of the meeting held on the 31st of October 2025. Are there any amendments to the minutes that anyone wishes to make? Thank you. Being no amendments, recommendation is the minutes of the council meeting held on the Friday 31st of October 2025 be approved and adopted as a true and correct record. Someone care to move that? Wahine Merch, Councillor Merch, thank you. Seconder? Nahuia Foreman, thank you. All those in favour say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Item 5.1 is the public forum. There's been no requests received for this, so we'll pass over that one and move to item 5.2. Council committees, establishment, appointments and delegation. This report notes the establishment of council committees for the 2025 to 2028 term, including chairperson appointments. The structure will be reviewed in 12 months' time. The recommendation is displayed on the screen. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Cameron, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Greenslade, thank you. So where are we going next?
Oh, excuse me, I think governance would just like a bit of clarification on who moved that. So Councillor Cameron, and seconded by Councillor Greenslade. Thank you, apologies through the chair, just to clarify for the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me of my duties. Are there any questions arising? Is that where we're up to now?
Through the chair.
Yes,
well, it's not actually a question, but I would wish to make a comment about it. Is it now to say it, or is it?
So I think the item has been moved and seconded, so it's probably at the time of vote, but subject to the chair.
So we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Contrary, no. Carried.
Well, through the chair, could I make a comment? I was wavering on abstaining. I thought that would have been the time to, after the seconding, to make that comment. That was my understanding of standing orders. Is that all right? Should I have made the comment before we moved and seconded?
Well, it would be fair to let you make a comment now, I guess.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. No, look, I mean, it's nothing too pointed. I just want to admit my ambivalence, somewhat ambivalence at this point of time to the committee structure as proposed, just for a couple of reasons. At this point in time, we haven't worked out delegated authorities of elected members or these committees, and the statement which we had one of our induction sessions last week or so that more or less said elected members would, the intent anyway for these, we're still to discuss it of course, but the intent is that delegated authorities for elected members would largely be policy decisions only. I disagree with that because I believe elected members around here should be taking more direct responsibilities for some of the more significant decisions, especially financial. The second reasoning, transport infrastructure still does not appear to be getting very good coverage or oversight as these current committees are proposed. We did start off with the idea of having an infrastructure committee, which was going to, I thought that was an opportunity to start doing that. It got subsequently watered down to a water committee, and I suppose there's some logic to that, but yeah, I have some reservations about that. And lastly, not to do with the committee structure really, I just want to make a comment that I also note the presence of a handful of unelected representatives on some of these committees whom are granted voting rights. Now, a lot of these committees don't have direct financial decision making or regulatory decision making, but their recommendations do get taken much more very seriously at the council table. So that's something I did pledge against in principle. So to be consistent with that, I express my reservation for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Your comments are noted. Yeah. Moving on to item 5.3, appointment of elected members to other external and joint committees, which external organisations. I invite Shani James to speak to the members.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Councillors. Now that your committee structure has been put into place and councillors appointed to various council committees, you may now consider appointments to external organisations and joint committees where Taupō district representation is required, as well as appointments to community groups with existing relationships with council. So you've discussed these appointments with Your Worship and as a group. Attachment 1 contains the proposed appointments to the external bodies and the joint committees, and Attachment 2 contains the proposed appointments to other community organisations within the district. In addition to these appointments, there's a recommendation to delegate authority to Councillor Steve Manunui to exercise emergency powers if required under civil defence legislation. This approach ensures coverage and clarity of roles in case of any emergency. I'm happy to take any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you. Do any of you have any questions? If not, the recommendation is displayed on the screen there. Can we have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Leonard, moved it. Someone prepared to second it? Councillor Taylor. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Moving on to item 5.4, selection, appointment and remuneration policy for external appointees on council committees. I invite Shani to present that to us, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So Council has a policy to guide selection, appointment and remuneration of external people to your council committees. The draft policy is presented to you with just one minor change, being removal of reference to the second independent member on the Risk and Assurance Committee. as that position doesn't exist anymore. No other changes are proposed, and again, happy to take any questions. Thank you, Worship.
Are there any questions from the councillors?
Aye.
Oh,
Just wanting to check, and it could be my reading of this policy, but there's a point in there that says only one meeting allowance will be paid per day, even if people have multiple meetings and are still having to do that much work pre-meeting. What was the rationale around that?
Thank you for your question, Councillor Foreman. We're actually not proposing to increase that at all. That is what it was in the last 3 years, and it is, as stated, it's just you attend a meeting, you get paid $250, and that takes into account the attendance at the meeting and any preparation done beforehand. So I think 3 years ago we checked what other councils paid, but we haven't gone through that process again. We're just proposing to keep it at that same level.
Through your worship, I can't actually recall too many many times when we've had multiple meetings on one day. So I would imagine it would have been a very rare, if not any, occurrence where someone has attended, not councillors, external appointments, on one day. Councillors, I acknowledge.
are there any further questions?
Sorry, I'm just going to pin with that one, because if people are, you know, in the future, if we do happen to have multiple hui, to not remunerate someone because they just happen to be, and why I'm saying this is because if you are taking a day out of your time and you're also taking time out to prepare for this meeting, should you not be remunerated for it? Because it would then put a limit on who we can have at those hui if they are not being remunerated. Well, it's just, yeah, I just see it as a bit of a barrier, as a just in case, especially if we're not having a financial impact for it.
Through the chair, I'm on page 47, and I'm reading: the policy maintains the position adopted in 2022 regarding A, the amount of appointee meeting fees to be paid at a rate of $250 per meeting, plus vehicle kilometre allowance, and B, provision for an additional sum to be negotiated for an external appointee who has additional chairperson duties. So I'm reading that per meeting.
And if I go on page 49, towards the bottom of the page it says only one meeting allowance would be paid per day in the actual policy. So that's why I've brought it up. We're contradicting ourselves.
Yeah, through the chair, so I can probably give a little bit of context from a comparability perspective. So generally speaking, so if you've the allowance of $250 accounts for a general day. So the meetings might be between 3 and 8 hours. You also might have 2 1-hour meetings. On another day, it's a 3-hour meeting. It's kind of a daily average fee, and from a comparability perspective, it just assumes that you're out for the whole day. It's kind of a blunt instrument, but it's so I can understand your concerns where there might be 2 4-hour meetings, and obviously that's quite a lot of your day compared to 2 1-hour meetings or 1 3-hour meeting. It's just, it kind of tries to take an average daily fee and assume that, you know, you're out of action for that day.
Okay, well, the recommendation is on the screen. The council adopts the selection, appointment and remuneration policy for external appointees on council committees for the 2025-2028 term of the council. So I'll put it to vote. All those in favour?
Can I just ask one other point of clarification? We haven't got the chair, should somebody be appointed to chair, the fee that they would receive for their meetings listed in there. Is that disclosed somewhere else?
Through the chair,
Councillor
is that the
Cameron.
provision that I just read out? Provision for an additional sum to be negotiated for an external appointee who has additional chairperson duties. I guess Councillor Leonard's point is, do we need to define that?
Does anyone have a view on that? Shani, do you?
Yeah, sorry, thank you, Your Worship, through you, Chair. That's the clause that Councillor Cameron just read out is the appropriate clause. So where an external representative is also the chair, an additional sum can be negotiated for those duties. So the example would be the chair of the Water Services Committee.
Through
Councillor?
the chair, that gives us flexibility to appoint at market rates. If council are uncomfortable with that, if you want a certain amount specified, we'd have to come back because we do not have the market rates available. So similar with the chair of Risk and Assurance, they do a proposal, but the chair of the Water Service Committee will be slightly different because we will be going to market. So it will be based on advice as per market rates.
So what was the amount last triennium? I'm just trying to get some clarity.
There wasn't one for...
Look, I'm just going to answer just in relation to that. Obviously, we can come back with that information. It would be, was negotiated directly with one individual, so that we would have to work through a process about whether we could.
I'm just trying to understand: is it the cost of a councillor? Is it more than that? Is it less than that?
Less than that. Yeah, in terms of the overall, remuneration that you receive from the Remuneration Authority, my recollection is it's less than the cost of one councillor.
For one committee as
for
one
one.
chairperson.
For one committee, for one chairperson.
Councillor Cameron.
I guess then, just to give some comfort, would that be brought to councillors to be approved? Right, thank you.
So everyone's happy, we'll put that to the vote. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I just have a question, clarification. I'm on page 50 and I'm looking at the amendment there that removes the Risk and Assurance Committee but keeps the Turangi Co-Governance Committee, and it talks about an additional sum may be negotiated with Council's Chief Executive to remunerate individuals appropriately. This recognises the greater responsibility and specialist skills required for these roles. So in relation to the Turangi Co-Governance Committee, my question is, what are the specialist skills required for the role of the Turangi Co-Governance Committee that differentiates from the other co-governance committees that we have?
Shani.
Thank you, Councillor Mert. So 3 years ago, when the Turangi Co-Governance Committee was established, salaries were negotiated with the committee members, bearing in mind that committee replaced the community board that was in place in Turangi at that time, and so the remuneration was on a par with what the community board members had been paid. Hopefully that answers your question.
Kind of, I think it's just the specialist skills required for these roles is kind of what I'm alluding to, and how and what specialist skills might the Turangi Co-Governance Committee have that differentiate from the other co-governance committees that we have in place on council, like the Taret one, the Okoa Settlement Trust co-governance committees. I think I'm just trying to understand that part around the specialist skills required for these roles.
I don't think we've actually used that provision, Councillor Murch, so I suspect it was actually probably when it was drafted more in relation to the additional risk and assurance person that was included in there, and we did look for specialist skills in relation to that provision. Shani has answered the question around Turangi Co-Gov and linking it back to what we paid for the community board membership. So I can't recall anything specific off the top of my head in relation to Turangi Co-Gov. I acknowledge your point in terms of we do have other co-governance committees like Te Arawa River Iwi Trust. Those are people that are actually also there from their day jobs as well. So some of them, they actually are employed and they're as part of their employed role. So my recollection is they are unpaid positions.
I hope that answers everyone's queries. And the recommendation is on the screen there, so I put it to you all. Those in favour say aye. Contrary, no. Oh, we're not going to move or second it. I'm sorry. We need to go back a stage. Can we have someone move? Hope, thank you. Hope Woodward. Is there a seconder for it? Councillor Cameron. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Moving on to item 5.5, appointment of remuneration of directors policy. Invite James to speak to members.
Thank you, Worship. So yes, Council has another policy to guide appointment and remuneration of directors to council organisations. A number of changes are proposed here, but these changes are simply to improve clarity, including to make it clear that in the case of any inconsistency, relevant trust deeds or constitution documents would take precedence over this policy. The term of appointment clause has also been expanded to outline the best practice approach to reappointment of directors, and the clause relating to Taupō Airport Authority being a council-controlled trading organisation has been deleted because it's since been clarified that the authority is a council-controlled organisation, not a council-controlled trading organisation. And so that clause will be renumbered starting at 7.1. Again, happy to take any questions. Thank you, Your Worship.
Do any of the members have any questions of Shaney? Being no further questions, can we... Oh, it's Councillor Greenslade.
Thank you, Your Worship. Are you aware of any of our trustees that will be taking precedent over our policy, Shaney?
Thank you, Councillor Greenslade. Well, one example would be the Destination Great Lakes Taupō Trustees as one of our council-controlled organisations. Can I just also add, please, that this doesn't change what was already the case. It's just simply clarifying that if there's an inconsistency, those documents are the ones that would take precedence.
Any further questions? Can we have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Foreman, and a seconder, Councillor Greenslade. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Moving on to item 5.6.
Good afternoon, Your Worship.
Chief Executive.
Your Worship and councillors. It is a privilege to be able to present our first council performance report for October. As you'll be more than aware, October was a busy month and we welcomed you all into this triennium. So congratulations again on your appointment and reappointment back to work with us for what's promising to be an exciting 3 years ahead. When we look at the summary of the report right at the beginning, it does talk about some legislative changes which are likely to be coming our direction, and as we understand from media articles, likely to be released very shortly from government, which will have quite an impact on terms of how we work as an organisation, or potentially have quite a bit of impact on how we work as an organisation. So highlighting those. Overall, as I mentioned, it's been a busy month with elections, and also just highlighting there's a number of references throughout the report that 99% of our dogs are registered, which is very exciting and has required quite an input across the organisation. We also opened the Kinloch water treatment plant just after the election, and we've had some great results in terms of land sales on Crown Road, which are also highlighted in that report, and more information to come to Council in December. For those that aren't familiar, this is a 3-part report. So right at the beginning, I introduced that. I have an awesome exec team that are here to support me and will be able to answer any questions on the first part of this report. And then we'll do 2 other parts, which is why we have the awesome Panel here from the manager of our project management office, and Jeanette, who you're very familiar with in terms of our finance manager, to help with the second and the third parts of those reports. So if I just open up for questions, up until the point that we reach the project updates.
Councillor Greenslade.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you very much for this very cheerful report for beginning of a triennial. Is there any update on the resource consent which has been lodged with Waikato Regional Council for the erosion control in Kuratau?
I can answer that one through the chair. So we have been responding to requests for further information from WRC. So unfortunately it's taken a little bit longer than expected, but it is in motion, and we're near the end of the RFIs, hopefully.
Any further questions?
Well, through the
Duncan.
Yeah, look, just for the sake of saying something, I heard that 99% dog registrations figure quoted again. I just thought it was interesting because I pointed out before it's all the dogs we don't know about that are the problem. So it's hard to claim 99%. But anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Your comments are noted, Councillor Campbell. Any further questions from anyone?
Through the chair.
Councillor Cameron.
I'm actually, what page am I on for a start? Page 73. This is possibly for Tony. September and October, having seen a significant increase in reactive emergency dispatches, assisting with emergency call-outs, including emergency services, traffic management, that sort of thing. I also note that the October claim is still under review. Do we get any central government funding for that? Do we... At what point does our responsibility kick in and ratepayers have to pay for that versus emergency services?
Tony.
Yeah, through the chair. That's a good question, and it's something which, as we have had previous conversations with some of the emergency groups, and we haven't landed any suitable conclusions in that space at this moment in time.
Any further questions?
I've got a comment. On page 69. I'd like to comment on the Turangi ward turnout for the elections, which was 63%, and I think it was just about the highest in New Zealand, so I think it's worth noting. Very, very interested community members down there.
Your comment is noted, Councillor Greenslade. I'm surprised we got away with it that lightly. Any further questions or comments?
So now I'll hand to Panel, being there's no further questions in terms of the portfolio update.
Ngā mihi o te ahiahi. Council, Your Worship the Mayor, it's lovely to see some new faces here and also those people that I've worked with for some time. As Julie very kindly introduced me, I'm Pranell Fletcher, the PMO Manager, and I run the Project Management Office, whose sole job is to deliver capital, but we do that with all the other people in the organisation and our community, and a lot of members here have been involved in steering groups for those projects. And I just wanted to outline what the portfolio update is, because I think when you first look at it, it might just look like a stack of dots with some words. So I just thought I'd go through how it's come about, what it means, and potentially answer some of the questions that you might have. So this is an overview of 22 only of our significant projects, and the reason we only do 22 is because we have over 350 projects, and it would take up 47 pages of your council report. So we thought we might cut it back to just the significant ones. And one of the main reasons we do this is for transparency, so that the public, yourselves, and other members of the organisation can understand exactly where our significant projects are at. We've got information regarding the background of the project, just a really short synopsis from a business case perhaps, what their current trajectory is, and obviously the RAG status, which stands for red, amber, green, and that gives you a great indicator of the health of the project. And I guess that's what we're here for today, is to understand what kind of direction capital delivery is going in, and also it gives you a quick dashboard on the health of those key 22 projects. This group of projects represents $109 million worth of capital, and that's over several years. Many of them are multi-year projects because they're huge. They're like the water treatment plant for Kinloch. They take a long time to plan and deliver, and many, many things can jump in the way of delivery. I guess just going into how I generally provide an update, but happy to take your feedback on that, is each month I talk about some of the changes that have occurred in the report. And you can see that from the little symbols that act like arrows, where you can see there's been an increase in risk or a decrease in risk associated with that, either time, cost or scope. So this month, for those of you who haven't been involved in SCADA projects, they're quite complicated, and it's basically the backbone of all of our three waters systems. The time and cost risk are increased slightly as we're working through further refinement of the time frames. It's a very technical, specialised area, and we are seeking proposals from consultants to assist us with implementation. Some of you may be aware of the transport project, which is the Omori-Kurito slip. Detailed design is underway, but as we find out more, we are understanding that the current budget might not be adequate for the best construction solution for this long term, for the slip to make a long-term solution. Moving on to wastewater, the Taupō wastewater treatment plant program and the buffer tanks, they're both large wastewater projects to do with enhancing the capacity of the community. The treatment plant program is well underway, but we've been waiting for several months on new wastewater standards to come out from central government. We're hoping that wait will be over by the end of November, but we're not 100% sure, so that's what's causing the delay in that space. And finally, you should see the Kinloch Low Zone Reservoir coming to you in the next couple of months regarding the land acquisition, and that again is an important capacity piece for the Kinloch community. And there's been a small scope change to the Universal Smart Metering project. Anyway, that's the summary for this month. I promise you it will be much shorter in future months, but if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Councillor Campbell.
Yes, through the chair, not really a question, just my observation and comment. These monthly reports, updates and opportunities to ask questions and for them for staff to give us information. But something else I'm advocating for when it comes to when we're talking about delegated authorities, basically it would result in, because basically a lot of this, much of that stuff, we've agreed to it at a long-term plan or an annual plan, and the staff run with it, and then they report to us monthly. But I'm advocating for some of the more significant decisions, but perhaps with a financial threshold, that we get more thorough reporting and actually signing off authority for some of those decisions, rather than just being reported to monthly as what's happening. I'm advocating that when we get that decision comes around for delegated authorities, and one thrust of that is, of course, is to try and rein in costs.
I can perhaps answer that for you. There is a workshop coming up on delegations, which will probably answer most of that for you. Pernell, could I just ask, when you speak, you pull the microphone a bit closer? You were fading out on me there. Julie, where are we up to? What?
Yes.
Councillor Greenslade, sorry.
Thank you, Pernell. I've got two questions for you. The first one on page 78 about the Turangi-Tongariro Park car park seal. Has that been finished yet?
Through the chair, I don't believe so.
Okay.
But I think this weather that we're having right now will absolutely wrap it up.
Thank you. And the second is on page 79, and that's about the Omori-Kurito slip on Omori Road. I'm just going to say I don't know anything about it. Have I missed something?
Through the chair, I'm happy to certainly provide more information on that. It's essentially a set of 3 slips, is my understanding, on the Kurito Road, and we're working for a long-term solution rather than just a kind of a short-term band-aid, because obviously that area has had a lot of rainfall in the last 6 months.
Yes, so we had that big one a couple of years ago, and that was a huge amount of work. So that's sort of in that same area associated with that, because there's a spring, I think, at the top of the hill, isn't there? Which
there's a lot of contributing factors.
There is a lot of contributing factors. Okay, thank you very much. That's my questions.
Okay, and part 3, we're now on page 82 of the agenda report, and I'm just going to hand to Jeanette to give us an update on financial performance.
Good afternoon again, councillors and your worship. So the financial report is broken into several sections, and the first section is the revenue and expenditure performance to the 4 months to the end of October. We don't normally explain every single variance, but I've done that this time just to give you a flavour of what's included in the various lines. So I won't go into any detail on those variances, but I'm happy to take any questions. The next schedule that you've got is just a balance sheet showing where our assets and liabilities sit as at the end of October, and these are compared to the year-end budget. Please note that there are some quite large variances in there, but that's due to the movement of certain assets and liabilities throughout the year, and then some of those fall away at the end of the year, so that's why you've got some large variances there. The next part of the report is just a small graph on the capital program. So currently this year we're sitting year to date at $20 million expenditure. That's 29.3% of our capital delivery target and 17.7% of the current forecasted budget. There's 3 lines on the graph. The orange line is our delivery target. The red line is our current forecast, which includes what we call carry forward, which is capital expenditure that has been brought forward from previous years that's not yet been spent. And the green line is the annual plan plus the EUL development project. There's a comment about there's special accounting treatment that we have to do for the EUL, but for ease of our teams and for you as well to understand how much we're actually delivering of that capital type nature, we've included it in the capital program, but for annual plan it was not included, it was part of expenses. The next page just details out any contracts that Julie has signed that is over her $500,000 delegated limit. These projects are for capital expenditure that has been budgeted, and they are within the budget. So she's signing those contracts based on results of a tender process. The last page is just a quick update on the TEL fund. As you may know, this fund is managed by Forsyth Bar, and with a view to increase the value of the fund, and so there's information there as to the assets that make up the fund and the currency that the various funds sit in. Happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions?
Thank you, Worship. The Mototerry Point wastewater reticulation design, is that in any way related to the reserve management plan that we did? Is that part of it? No, it's quite separate.
Sorry, through the chair, that's quite a separate project.
It was going ahead anyway, it wasn't anything to do with the management plan. Right, thank you very much. And just want to comment on the fact that Taupo District Council has to pay $951,000 in development contributions to Taupo District Council.
Thank you, Councillor Greenslade. Any further questions? We have the motion on the screen there. Would someone like to move that we accept the recommendation of the report? Councillor Leonard, and a seconder, Councillor Cameron. Put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Moving on to item 5.7, expenses and allowances policy for elected members. invite Karen Watts to speak to the members.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hello, councillors. So this is asking you to adopt the expenses and allowances policy for the term. We have had a few discussions already, or we had an induction session where we discussed this. So I just wanted to highlight some key points from it. One being that we are proposing to make public on our website the monthly expenses. And the other thing is that the Remuneration Authority has put in the determination for a home security system allowance. So that's a new thing that's new to all councils, or being offered to all councils this time around. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Councillor Leonard.
Can I just clarify, please? It'll be all of the expenses incurred by an elected member within that month, is that correct? So travel time and travel allowance, and thanks.
That's correct. The only thing that we wouldn't make public is if somebody did elect to install a home security system allowance. That's something that we will keep off of that, but all other expenses will be published.
Thank you.
Councillor Campbell.
Oh, so look, it's probably out of turn, but it just occurred to me as you're mentioning that publishing monthly expenses, it would be great at the same time, say, to publish elected member attendance and voting records for elected members in the same little piece. I think that would be useful.
Well, just in respect of that, both of those items appear in the minutes of the meeting from the previous council meeting, so they are recorded and made public already.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any Councillor Greensley?
Just a point of clarification. Thank you, Karen. Will it be a lump sum, or will it be itemised out when it's published?
So you mean the expenses? Yep. So it would just be a total against what it was for. So for example, if it was for kilometres, it would just have a total sum. If it was for travel time, again, a total. If it was for, I'm trying to remember the other things.
I was
like
just thinking,
travel.
if a councillor goes on a conference or something like that, I mean, if that's sort of lumped in with their travel or whatever, it looks pretty terrible, I would imagine,
That's right.
as we're going to Wellington. Whereas if it's a conference, obviously that's something quite separate.
Yeah, so it would be detailed out, and I guess if somebody questioned it, we've got things like in the next report we'll be covering where you all approve things like travel for conferences, so it would be able to be reconciled back to why it occurred. Yeah.
Any further questions? That being the case, the recommendation is on the screen that we adopt the expenses and allowances policy for elected members for the 2025-2028 period. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Westerman moved it. Is there a seconder? Councillor Purge. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you for that. Item 5.8. Council engagements for December 2025, appointments and training and conference opportunities. Karen, care to speak on that for us, please?
Kia ora anō. So this one is something that you will see at every monthly council meeting for our new councillors, and we just detail out the engagements for the following month. So in addition to next month's council meeting, please note that there will also be a public workshop on the annual plan in the morning. So that's on initial budgeting and direction from 10:30 to 11:30. The rest of it is what I alluded to in the last conversation, where there are training and conference opportunities. These will be detailed in this report for you to approve. In this case, some of them are retrospective, but I understand that you all had a discussion about it, so hopefully it's all fine. The 21st of November Zone 2 meeting, the reason why we've crossed out councillors Manunui and Murch is because they weren't able to go. And then I just need you to please let us know who will actually be going to the Pōheri in Rotorua on the 9th of December, so that we can add those names in.
Are there any questions? If not, can we,
Yes, please. I would like to go to the Pōwhiri on the 9th, is it? 9th of December?
Mm-hmm. And myself as well, thank you.
And me.
Karen, did you get everyone there? Councillor Delator, Councillor Woodward, Councillor Foreman and Councillor Murch. Have I got everyone there? So the recommendation is approve the attendance of those councillors at the regional Pōwhiri meet and greet for the new councillors at the Tangi Marae, yeah. Thank you very much. In Rotorua on Tuesday, 9th of December. Can someone move that for us, please? Councillor Westerman. And a seconder, Councillor Foreman. Put that to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you very much. That brings us to the close of the meeting. We'll now recite the karakia. Thank you for your attendance here, especially members of the public, taking the time to come and be with us today. Karen, thank you, and all the staff. Appreciate you being